SupoEntertainment.com presents Brand Sharks.
Chapter 8. Author Glen Martin. Title: Grit It or Quit It.
Read by the co-author Mike Duffy.
Hi, I'm Mike Duffy, author of Brand Sharks, Unstoppable Strategies from Industry Leaders. You can get our book at brandsharksbook.com. That is www.brandsharksbook.com. And I will send you an autographed copy no matter where you are in the world. Brand Sharks book. Authors on the back. Chapter 8, Grit It or Quit It by Glen Martin. I could hardly believe I was in this situation. Newly married to the love of my life, both of us working full-time jobs, and still we couldn't figure out how to make the money reach around. If you're like me, you remember how it feels on payday. Money is suddenly in your account, then you paid your bills, took your wife out to dinner, bought a few things for the house, and bam, broke again. That was a constant struggle I was in every week. I could hardly explain it. It felt like the perpetual race that never ended. Let's face it. Obviously, I was a terrible money manager. I wasn't tracking the money coming in with my paycheck, but more importantly, I wasn't tracking the money leaving my account. I knew how much my bills were, but all those little extra things, $1 snack here, a $5 coffee there, was literally bleeding me dry. It wasn't exactly immature spending, but those small things hurt me more than I cared to admit. I wasn't rolling in money, if you will. I couldn't make my $5 reach to cover our $10 expenses no matter how much I tried. I knew something had to change, but I had only one idea. I needed to work harder. Maybe you've been there, working so much you were barely sleeping and still your bills barely get paid. I was a stand-up citizen. I was a professing Christian. I loved my wife. I thought I was doing everything right, yet I was more stressed behind closed doors than I could understand. I knew I wasn't willing to live like that for the next 50 years or more. Being broke is a temporary situation, but being poor is a state of mind. For me, this was true. I was raised in a good home where we had plenty of money and we didn't lack for anything. When I got married, it was more of a state of mind that left me poor. I started to think, maybe it's just not in the cards for me to bring in a large income. Maybe I'm supposed to struggle. But that state of mind left me poor because for a while, I didn't try very hard to fix it. I became content with where I was, even though it was hard to stay there. I had to be shown a better way that could not only change my lifestyle, but put me in an environment to change my identity and mindset. If you're reading this and thinking everyone before me was poor, I am poor because I wasn't given a proper start, here's my advice. Find someone to mentor you, someone that truly wants to see you win. With your persistence and their guidance, you can change your situation. I needed to change my way of thinking, not just my way of making money, because I definitely had a poor state of mind. The good news was I had met a guy in my teens, a friend and mentor of my oldest brother. He was young and successful, and I remember thinking as a teenager, man, this guy has a cool haircut. You're laughing. But in all seriousness, that's what I cared about then. I didn't want money. I wanted to be the cool kid, to be accepted. I didn't care what he did back then. Fast forward to now, being newly married and needing options, all I could think was, why is he young and successful, and here I am, the same age as he was then, and I'm beyond busted? Was he smarter than I was? I doubted it. But I knew I had to figure out what separated us. That day in December of 2013, I made a phone call that changed the course of my life and my family's life forever. It was the day I started my career in network marketing. I didn't know it was looked down by others who believed it would be a get-rich-quick business. I didn't know it wasn't the cool thing to do in my setting. I just knew this guy, Brent, had options that I didn't have, and this opportunity had provided him with those options. He was the kind of man I wanted to be when I grew up, and I truly believed if I took his advice, I would become that. I was excited about the income, but it was the mentorship I was craving. I could see he truly cared about me and wanted me to succeed in my life. I was all in from that moment forward. I had zero business experience other than watching my dad build a traditional feed and landscape supply business, but I had no clue how to run one. I respected my dad so much for what he had built and was continuing to grow, but what I knew from watching his company was that you always needed to be there for money to come in. I wanted something that could be built long-term as an asset. I just wasn't sure what that looked like. Brent was that lifeline. He knew how, and I knew I wasn't going to pass that up. I grew up in the Mennonite community. It's an amazing community of Christians. As in the general custom in that setting, we weren't encouraged to gain higher education, so I hadn't received a high school diploma and had never gone to college. From many others' perspective, I wasn't destined to achieve great success. I had always been taught to do my best and work hard, but I was up against a wall. I needed a chance to prove that I could build my business and a life I was proud to have. I never understood the importance of branding myself. Shoot, I didn't even know what that meant. I didn't know how to network, let alone build a brand from nothing. So how was I going to build a networking business? What I did know was that building a name or a brand was important so that people would take me seriously. I saw so many other businesses that touted the ability to make money easily from home. I could also see that no one took them seriously, so they never worked. I was determined to figure out how to make this opportunity work no matter what. For me, this stage is where mentorship became invaluable. I grew up thinking that if you needed a mentor, it was because you had serious problems and your mentor would help to fix you. I never wanted a mentor. I didn't want to be viewed as a failure in need of fixing. But there I was, just getting into network marketing and receiving a mentor. What? Here's what I quickly learned. A mentor is a guide. I began to see that I was getting advice and guidance based off the mistakes my mentor made himself, and he was showing me how to avoid them in my own career. A mentor is not a person who fixes you. Mentors walk alongside you to provide their perspective and to share their experiences. I decided to become the best protege I could possibly be. I started asking every question in the book. What do I need to do? How do I move forward? What should I start reading? To my dismay, one of the first things that I was encouraged to do was to start networking. Really? I had never had a reason to meet folks around town, let alone try to get their contact information. How would I ever do that? But I knew I was going to get out of the hole I was in. This was the only path I could see. So I started meeting people. I started conversations with anyone and everyone. In the beginning, I believe it was more awkward for them than it was for me. Unfortunately, I had never done it before. Some people were afraid to sit down with me. One said she had watched too many crime shows. Another just didn't feel comfortable learning from me about the business. One guy, when I called to see why he didn't show up to our meeting, this happened often, said, I just don't feel comfortable coming to meet you. Like, are you interviewing for a porno film? Wow, I knew for a fact I was meeting not only the wrong type of people, but I also knew then I was being really weird. How had I gotten to that point? But here's what separated me from many around me. I wasn't going to stop. I knew I had to learn a better way. I had to learn how to be more relatable and approach people in a professional but relaxed way. I started taking tips from my coach and reading every book I could get my hands on. Here are just a few of the titles that helped me on my journey to learning how to succeed in the business of networking. Number 1, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Number 2, The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. Number 3, Go for No by Andrea Waltz and Richard Fenton. 4, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Number 5, The Magic of Thinking Big by Dr. David Schwartz. I became a reading fiend. During this process, I kept right on shaking hands, and guess what? I started meeting and making new friends. I started to become less awkward and weird. My team actually started to grow. People around town started to recognize me. I was building a reputation, but more importantly, I was building a brand. I didn't know it then, but it was starting to gain some traction. It was awesome. It felt like maybe I actually stood a chance. Maybe I could build the American dream for my family. However, I was also receiving a lot of criticism about what I was doing. Was it worth it? All those long hours of little to no success, spending more money on tools than I was making to serve my fledgling team? You should just quit and focus on your efforts on your job. I heard this from almost everyone around me. But I knew, and my wife Carla knew, how much we were changing on the inside. We knew we had stepped into something special. We kept going. We didn't know the word quit. Life moved on, and I continued pushing myself in every way possible to move our business and life forward. We started a family which only made me want to push harder. With a young son and another on the way, I knew this is where I wanted to be. And I was figuring it out one day at a time, one failure to the next. It was sometimes the most enjoyable journey, yet other days the most painful. Looking back, I wouldn't change it for anything. Fast forward to 2019, and my wife and I reached a new level in our business that 0.002% of people managed to achieve each year. We wouldn't have been more proud of our team and those who had decided to come along on our journey. We had branded ourselves out as winners, as folks with a dream who truly cared to help others. We had branded ourselves as people who weren't just going to flow with the status quo. Instead, we were going to live our lives by the principles we knew were right for our family. One of the biggest things in this season of life did for me was show me that my network marketing business was so much more than just slinging products. It's all about learning to fall and get back up. It's about learning to enjoy the roller coaster ride that entrepreneurs bring to our lives. I will be forever grateful that this opportunity came into my life and for all it taught me. I now had the opportunity to show others that fulfillment comes from serving, that if you truly want to, you can win, succeed, and become who you want to become. Here are some choices I made along the way that have blessed me tremendously. I wasn't afraid to stand for something or make decisions that went against what my friends thought was cool or best for them. Many people can't stand up to the pressure of going against what is recommended by close friends and family, so they give up and fail. I wasn't afraid to learn. I couldn't wait to listen to success podcasts and read books about what had helped others before me realize their goals and dreams. Unfortunately, most people don't like to learn once college is finished. Read? Nah, the football game is on and my team is playing. I have to watch it. I'm just too busy. I can't take time to learn anything else. I call it excusitis. Excusitis. Too many excuses. I wasn't afraid to fail and fail often. I failed at something new every day, it seemed. It was painful, but I learned from my dad that when you say you're going to do something, you do it, no matter if it's harder than you thought. So I kept failing fast and often. So many are taught to hate failure. When they fall and they stay down or they walk away with their tail between their legs, don't let this be you. I became consistent. In order to become better than anyone else, you need to become more consistent than anyone else. You need to put more reps in. I just kept putting in more reps than anyone around me. I knew it would pay off. Most people struggle to become consistent because they have shiny object syndrome. They get distracted because they have no clear vision. I had a vision for my life. I knew that I was trying to accomplish. Figure it out for yourself. Get a clear vision of what you want your life to be. As I continue to grow and impact others, I started to understand that success is universal. I became attuned to other opportunities around me. I attended an entrepreneur seminar where I had the privilege of being introduced to a gentleman who was a master at social media and online branding. I was intrigued. I knew the art of networking in person, but online branding was a game I had never mastered. I began a journey and started to work with him in sales and customer management. It allowed me to stand on the wall to watch what he was doing and see how he was helping his clients achieve massive success online. I started to realize it was very similar to what had helped my wife and me succeed in network marketing. It's all about making yourself a specialist in a certain area. When you post and talk online, it's about showing people your skills in one area and building yourself as an authority. It was exactly what we had done in network marketing. We were experts there because we had taken time to learn our craft, but in a different space. I found myself heading down another path. A partner and I put our heads together and we quickly knew we could start helping traditional businesses and business owners learn how to stand out from their competitors and create their online market expertise. I believe that one of the biggest challenges many businesses or business owners face in standing out in the crowded online space. So I knew that learning how to position oneself in the market as an individual was crucial. Through my network marketing experience and learning how to do that online, we were onto something special. I truly believe if business owners had a viable product and or service, they deserve to be noticed. That belief led us to launching an agency where we could bring our expertise in marketing and branding. We could help business owners not only gain more sales and have a better online brand, but we truly wanted to see hardworking, highly invested entrepreneurs succeed at the levels they desired by giving them the right tools. Launching another business alongside an existing one sounds like the dream to many. Truth be told, it is fun, but it's stressful as well. Many hours of lost sleep and extra thought process go into that, but to have a product that serves others makes it worthwhile. I could continue to go down the path of my story, but I'll save that for another time. Here are some key takeaways that I have held true for me and I have allowed me to succeed in the spaces I was and I am in. The first thing is my faith in God. I believe so deeply that God has placed all of us here for a unique reason. If he has led us somewhere, I need to put my everything into it. He has a reason. He brought me here. I may not see it, but I don't question it. Just have faith and move forward. This has been a big part of why I do what I do today. Second to my faith in God is family. I've always been driven to become a dad that my kids know, who is there for them every day, who isn't leaving their futures up to chance. It drove me even when the world screamed, stop. It still drives me every day. Being a husband who is counted on in a world that is falling apart drives me to create options that can allow other men to spend more time with their families as well. The third thing is willingness to work. As Ben Franklin said, opportunity is missed because it is dressed in overalls and looks like work. This one was huge to me. I've never been scared to work. When it looked like everything was going the wrong way, I would still show up and put in the work, even when other people I cared about had given up. There's so many other things I could list, but I believe these are the main ones. Here's my advice to you. Always follow your dreams. Keep God first. Remember you are special and have so much to bring into the world. If you do this, I believe you can succeed at any level you desire. Stop playing it safe. Go take some risks and you will be richly rewarded. That was chapter 8 about Glen Martin. Thank you for listening to Chapter 8 of Brand Sharks, Unstoppable Strategies from Industry Leaders.
Follow Glen Martin on Instagram at Glen_Martin or on his website, funnelforce.pro, FUNNELFORCE.pro.